day 2 of camp as we continue things on here in Penticton, but what's just the vibe, the energy been like with this team so far?
Well, we've been very happy with it, especially today. A lot of pace drills, asking the guys to skate and get up and down the sheet, and everybody's challenged each other and skated at a very high pace. So we're happy with the energy and compete so far.
Is Pedersen, Besser, and DeBrusk up to you? I know it's day 2. You got a way to go. What do you think?
Yeah, obviously you got to temper your excitement on day 2 of training camp, but they look very good today. They scored a bunch of goals, and we did some drills in the second session of practice that really was a bit of an advantage for the forwards, and those guys definitely took that, and they looked very, very good out there today.
Long term, what do you see in your whole that trio all work together?
Well,
about the combination?
Yeah, obviously there's a lot to like with those three guys that have been very good players in the NHL for a long time, but also in training camp we're looking at different line combinations. So we're looking at that right now, and they've been good through the first 2 days, and they'll get a chance to play with different players here as we move forward as well.
How much do you need from Philip Hedl this year as a contributor, second line center? He's obviously had some issues before, but how much do you need from this guy this year?
Yeah, he's going to have to be good for us. There's no question, but that's true for a lot of our centers. That we're going to ask a lot of that group, and again, we're trying to really put in things here to him and to others to make sure that puts them in the best situation so that they can do the roles we're going to ask them to do this season.
He said he plays better when his head's not too filled with systems and having to think too much, like probably a lot of guys do. How do you work with a guy not to overload him? Because he's so skilled, right? How do you let him be free but controlled at the same time?
I think you'll see in this training camp we've also done quite a few drills where we've slowed things down to try to teach, and that's what we're trying to do here in training camp. Really, we try to hit the ground running, teach the system. So for a player like that, get those locked in here in these first few days, and then to your point, then he can just go out and play with his instincts.
Sticking with that line, what have you seen out of Evander Kane in the past couple days?
Yeah, he's been good. He's come in and he's really led for us. We really liked him today, and there were some details we were asking of the players in certain drills, and he really did those details. So we've been very happy with everything about his game and his attitude, and his compete is always so high that he's got that big body. So he's pushing some guys around today, which is something we want to see early in training camp.
Speaking of, you just said he led a lot today. What can adding a guy who's been to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final 2 years in a row, what kind of leadership can that add to your team, that experience?
Yeah, there's no question that that's something that you only gain from being there, and he's been there 2 years in a row now. So that's huge for our group, and especially for our young guys to see someone. And as I mentioned, the compete that he showed today in the second day of training camp, you got to carry that on through the entire season, and you only realize that once you go through it, like he has.
And what about you? What have the last 2 days been like for you as a new assistant coach of this team?
Yeah, it's been great. Obviously, as a coaching staff, we're trying to find our rhythm. We've never worked together before, and we felt good about that. But for myself, it's obviously just a huge honor to work for the Canucks and to work for Adam, and I've been happy with it so far.
Adam was saying that you were showing some pace out there yesterday.
I was trying, but I never had much pace when I played, so I'll keep trying to work on that.
For so many of these guys, it's training camp, it's just trying to find the rhythm and the routine again. But for Braeden Cootes, it's the first time through this. I mean, have you had a chance to sort of keep an eye on him? What have you seen, and how impressive is he?
I had a chance to talk to him during one of the drills today, and he was just excited, as you'd expect. But he also stood out today. He had a really good day and getting on pucks, and he's obviously smart and created in some of the drills. So he's not just out here excited to be here. He's here to make an impression, and he's done that through the first 2 days.
It felt like practice today, there was a lot of physicality, a lot more than yesterday, obviously. So when you see those net front battles or even just along the board battles, what does that tell you when players are that physical on day 2?
Well, that's obviously good, and we're pushing them to do that, and that shows that they're, 1, committed to do it, to what we're asking them to do, and 2, that they came ready to do that. So a really good sign for us.
Aside from that experience that Evander brings, coming off a couple deep playoff runs, what are you hoping he can bring to this group in particular, especially in a top 6 role?
Well, obviously he's got a physicality to his game that we feel can definitely help our team and will help any team, and so that's part of it. But he can definitely play a role for us in that leadership element, and he brings a lot to our team that we feel is just going to help us. And again, we really like that he brings that attitude that he's brought here, and he can bring that swagger to our team too, that every team needs. If you want to be a good team, you got to have an edge to you, you got to have a belief to you, and we think he can really help us with that.
From a coaching standpoint, like, how much more do you give the guys on day 2 than day 1? Day 1 seemed like you were really trying to set a baseline. Like, how much more do you throw at the group on day 2?
Yeah, we threw a bit more systems-wise, but tried to not do too much either. We want to make sure that our certain big zones and the structure in those zones. Today we did a lot of neutral zones. So you feel like we got to start integrating some of those systems into it because we don't have all that many practices, obviously, before we play preseason. And even before the start of the season, there's only so many. So we got to touch on certain things. So as we move forward here, we'll continue to try to build on those systems so that everybody's on the same page as soon as we can.
And Adam said yesterday he was toying with the idea of doing some special teams work. Are you guys any further ahead? Like, do you think you'll do any of that here in camp?
We're going to meet as coaching staff now and kind of get into that. We haven't had a chance to get into that today.